So, picture this. It's June 23rd, 2024. Rapper Charles Jones, who millions of people know as Julio Foolio, is out celebrating his 26th birthday. He has absolutely no idea that he's being watched, followed, and stalked by a team of killers who have a whole premeditated plot ready to go. Today, we're going to break down that ambush, the vicious gang war that fueled it, and the murder trial that's happening right now.
Entirely off guard, blindsided. That's how the prosecution described the last moments of Charles Jones's life. I mean, think about it. He's out with his friends, his guard is totally down, and he's just been forced to move his own birthday party. What he couldn't have known was that this one change of plans would deliver him right into the hands of an execution team, a team that had traveled hundreds of miles for just one reason: to kill him.
So how did this all go down? Well, the night starts with a birthday party at an Airbnb, but pretty quickly the police show up and shut it down because it's way over capacity. This forces Jones and his crew to scramble, trying to find a new place to stay in the middle of the night. They end up at a Holiday Inn, and it was right there, in that parking lot, as they were trying to get a room, that the trap was sprung. The very move that was meant to save the party actually made him a perfect, stationary target.
And this is where you can just feel how vulnerable the situation was. Jones is in the front passenger seat, basically caged inside his own car. He can't run, he can't dive, he can't even duck. So when the gunmen show up dressed from head to toe in black, he had literally nowhere to go.
And the attackers, they didn't even hesitate. They just unleashed what prosecutors called a hellish onslaught. We're talking about high-powered rifle rounds that can just rip through car doors like they're made of paper. And get this, a Glock handgun that had been illegally modified into a fully automatic hand cannon, able to empty its entire 30-round magazine in just a couple of seconds. The goal here wasn't just to kill, it was total annihilation.
But here's the thing. This brutal attack in a Tampa hotel parking lot wasn't some random act of violence, not even close. To really get why this happened, you have to look over 200 miles away, to Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where a bloody, years-long street war has been raging. And this murder, it was just the latest battle.
So on one side, you've got 6 Block. This was the gang Charles Jones wasn't just a member of. You could argue he was its most famous public face. And on the other side, you have these allied gangs, ATK, which stands for Aces Top Killers, and 1200. According to investigators, these groups absolutely despise each other, and their feud has left a trail of bodies on both sides for years.
And, this world of violence, this was the world Jones grew up in. In an interview back in 2021, he talked about his own dad being killed when he was just a teenager, and losing his first friend to gun violence in high school. So this wasn't some lifestyle he picked up later, it was the environment he was literally born into. But this war, it wasn't just fought with guns on the street. It was also a war of words and images, and it was broadcast to millions of followers online. And the weapon of choice for this online propaganda war was a very specific type of music, drill rap.
So what are we really talking about here? In the context of this feud, you can basically think of drill rap as disrespect music. It's not just about being an artist, it's a tool for psychological warfare. Rappers from both sides would literally name-drop rivals who had been killed, mock their deaths, make direct threats, basically turning their hit songs into public declarations of war.
And the level of provocation, it went to some extreme places. Jones, as Julio Foolio, made music videos where he would actually go to the graves of his dead rivals, lie on their tombstones, and pour champagne on their graves. For gangs like ATK and 1200, this was the ultimate sign of disrespect to their fallen members, and it created this deep, really personal vendetta against him.
So, with that kind of pure hatred as the fuel, a plot starts to form. And according to prosecutors, the evidence doesn't point to a crime of passion. No, it points to a meticulously planned, long-distance, almost military-style operation. I want you to just stop and think about this number for a second. Over 500 miles. That's the round trip the conspirators allegedly traveled. They left their home turf in Jacksonville, drove all the way to Tampa, carried out the hit, and planned to just drive right back. That kind of commitment, that shows an incredible amount of premeditation.
Okay, so police identified a team of 5 people they say are responsible. According to the investigation, you've got Rashad and Davion Murphy, both tied to the 1200 gang, and Sean Gaithright as the alleged shooters. Then you have Isaiah Chance, an ATK member, and his girlfriend Alicia Andrews. They were the alleged trackers, the eyes on the ground, orchestrating the whole ambush.
So if you break it down, the prosecution is basically laying out the anatomy of an ambush. They claim the plan was hatched days in advance. The team, the weapons, the disguises, all assembled. They traveled to Tampa, they surveilled Jones across at least 2 different locations, and then, when the moment is just right, they execute the plan with what prosecutors called clock-like precision.
All right, so all 5 suspects are in custody. The battle on the streets is over. Now, the war moves into the courtroom. And the very first person to face a jury isn't one of the alleged shooters. It's the alleged spotter, Alicia Andrews. And in her trial, you get 2 completely opposite stories. The prosecution paints Andrews as a key player, the spotter, whose real-time updates on where Jones was were absolutely essential to pulling off the ambush. But the defense? They argue she was just a passenger, stuck in a controlling relationship with her boyfriend Isaiah Chance, with no clue he was about to commit a murder. But then, the prosecution pulls out this bombshell piece of evidence that really challenges the defense's story. They presented text messages from 3 years before the murder, where Alicia Andrews is talking about the gang war with a friend, and she writes that Julio Foolio need to die. The prosecution argues this proves she had a long-standing hatred and, well, intent.
So you might be wondering, how can she be on trial for first-degree murder if she never pulled a trigger? Well, the answer is a Florida law called the law of principles. And what this legal doctrine basically says is that if you help someone commit a crime, if you encourage them, assist them, or advise them, you're treated as if you are just as guilty as the person who actually did it. You become a principal to the crime. And that right there is the entire foundation of the state's case against her.
You know, this case is so much more than just a murder trial. It's really a stark look at how modern conflicts play out. It pulls back the curtain on a world where online beef has deadly, real-world consequences, where music videos are shown to a jury as evidence for motive, and where a digital war is fought with actual bullets. And it really forces us to ask, in a conflict that's amplified by clicks and clout, how does this cycle of violence ever stop?